Dream chasing, cause a dream wants you back. If you're gonna love somebody, hold on as long as.
Well, I want to thank everybody and welcome everybody to the newest edition of Karl's Corner. And I'm glad that little clip we were able to show. I want to introduce Frankie Rae. Last name is Testa, correct?
Yes, yeah, Testa. Yeah.
You hear me, Frankie?
Yeah, I got you, buddy. It's a pleasure to be on here, man. It really is. Thank you for having me, my man.
Yeah. This internet thing is like sometimes it gets glitchy a little bit, but yeah, thanks again for being here. I'm going to make sure we had that little video clip. We're going to be talking about music, and without talking about music, without listening to it, kind of crazy. So welcome. I have to say that I've noticed, I have to still call you. Don't mind if I call you a kid. That year, what, 20 years old?
Oh, you're good. 19.
Yeah, I've known you
soon. We're getting close.
Okay, so I've known you when you were a little guy. When I was back east, I was part of your family through another cousin of yours, and we won't go through all the other things, but always knew that you had a thing for music and the arts. And that little clip that we just showed, that you now presently you are studying music or engineering, but you have music, correct?
Yes. So doing the audio engineering major with a minor in music business. Yep, at Belmont University.
What school are you at? Are you
I'm at
attending?
Belmont. Attending Belmont University in downtown Nashville, Tennessee. Yep,
beautiful.
Beautiful
school. Give us a little bit of your background, what got you into the arts, and how it got you down to Nashville, and then starting your musical career.
Yeah. All right. So, I guess if we start from the beginning, I mean, my earliest, I would say, intro to music was listening to the old doo-wop stuff. My grandfather had a huge impact on my life, and especially my music just category, my catalog, I should say. Listening to doo-wop was the biggest thing. Johnny Maestro and the Brooklyn Bridge, which is a lot of people. It's very hard to find somebody. There he is right there. It's very hard to find somebody that knows who that is, but you play Johnny Maestro and the Brooklyn Bridge's music, and I could probably sing or know the words to almost every song.
Frankie, I actually met the man.
You met Johnny Maestro?
Yes.
You are
back in the late 90s.
Man in the world.
Well, if you see one of my, I did one back in October, a guy by the name of Johnny Patillo.
Yeah.
And if you know Johnny, you probably know about Danny and the Juniors.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
Now this guy was one of the members of Danny and the Juniors from the original when Danny was still part of them before he had his incident. So yes, through a friend of mine met all of those doo-wop guys. So yeah, so I've met him. One time they were playing at the Clarence Casino through a friend of mine back in the late 90s, early 2000s in Atlantic City. So continue. But yes, I knew that. Fantastic. So continue your story about your starting.
Thank you, buddy. So Johnny Maestro on the Brooklyn Bridge was a big influence on my start as just learning music. As that went on, I started to get introduced into Elvis and Dion and Dean Martin, Sinatra, all those guys, just kind of, and everyone in between, and so that all came from the oldies radio that my grandfather would listen to as we would drive to go get food or, go fishing, something crazy like that. My uncle, Ray Curry, he is also a wedding DJ. So not just, growing up with my grandfather listening to his music, I was listening to my Uncle Ray's music and the stuff that he would DJ. And I always admired the work that he did at family events and weddings that we would go to. So I have to thank him for a lot of my more modern twist on things. So as time went on, we got into, I want to say, around sixth grade. And that is when I started to get more into the idea of theater. Saw that there was, theater offered at my middle school and decided to do it. It was only little small plays, maybe an hour long, nothing crazy. Started out, doing those plays. And then the summer of sixth grade into seventh grade is when I started at Main Stage Center for the Arts in Blackwood, New Jersey. And that's when I did my first musical. And very fast, I realized I was in love with not just the performing arts, but I was in love with the musicals, and more importantly, the music aspect of a musical. Seventh into eighth grade is when I did my first musical that I was able to have a role in, and I was blessed with a singing part in that show. And that's when I realized I had a voice. It kind of shocked everyone around me, including myself. If you ask anybody in my immediate family, like my mother there in that picture, you ask them to sing, it's very tone deaf. Uncle Ray's got a little bit of a voice, but my mother, sorry, Mom, she cannot sing. So, we tried to kind of go through the family tree after a while and try to figure out where is the voice coming from? Where is this natural vibrato coming from? And these are not things I'm necessarily patting myself on the back for. I mean, it's just kind of one of those things. It just happened, and we were in such shock that we wanted to find out why it was happening. You get a little scared when somebody can sing good, let alone great. So at the time, I was singing and doing a lot of singing. I would do it almost for 2 hours every day, and I think I kept up with that up until the end of high school, into college. And so having all that time, not just singing musicals and doing stuff like that, I was introducing myself to music all over the charts, all over the map, singing stuff that I heard on the radio, singing stuff that I found on YouTube, singing stuff that I found, working with my uncle, which once I got into high school, I eventually started to do. Started to apprentice for the Diamond DJs with Ray Curry and Sam Harris, and just kind of worked under them, alongside of them, helping them out. And so as that went on, I started to find my love for the technical side of music and learn a lot of cool things about that. They were able to give me some opportunities to go up and sing with the Blitz Band of South Jersey. And that was where I fell in love with the artist style of things, the singer-songwriter type of things. At senior year, it was, they got to make that big decision where you're going to go to college. And my mom was a big stickler on me going to college, as was my Uncle Ray and my Aunt Lucy. And so, they really supported me in really whatever I wanted to do. Was I going to stay in state? Was I going to go to community college, or was I going to leave? And I told my mom the whole idea of, leaving was kind of a, big deal for me. Going into high school, instead of going to the high school that everybody else from my middle school and elementary school went to, I decided to go to a trade school, which I did at Camden County Technical Schools. And what we did there was I was a part of the Performing Arts Academy. And so being a part of that, making that leap and that transition, meeting different people was kind of a big thing for me. And it helped me kind of open up a new chapter in my life. And I think it helped me be a little bit more comfortable with performing. I didn't just do musicals at school, like the musicals in the program. I performed in pep rallies, I sung the national anthem for the military ball, so I was getting a feel for everything in the realm. And from all those years, I was building up a lot of stagehand experience on top of just being a performer. So I thank God for those years of my life, to learn so much in such a little amount of time. Now, did it put a lot of pain in my back? Yeah, it did. But there was so many things that I learned that I come to college and realize there's people who don't even know what they're looking at rather than what they would do with it. So I thank God for a lot of that time. So not shortly after, once I started to make decisions, I originally auditioned to be in performing arts because that's what I was doing at the time. I auditioned for the performing arts program here at Belmont University. I found it on a whim, in the wind. It was just kind of floating around. I looked up, best performing schools in the country, schools that offer different types of arts. First thing that came up was Berkeley Juilliard, and then Belmont University in Nashville, Tennessee. Why Nashville, Tennessee? I don't know, but it caught my eye. And, I auditioned for the performing arts program here, did not get in. But they did say that they had other majors offered since I already had made it in the school. I just had to find a college. And certain ones of the colleges do, accept you off of your acceptance into the school. And so the Curb College of Music, Business, Entertainment was one of those options, with the audio engineering major, the minor in music business. Once I got in there, I did a first couple weeks were a little rough, but once I got used to it, adjusted, met some friends, and started doing a lot of my major classes, I realized I think I'm pretty set on what I want to do with my life.
So is this how you arrived then?
Yes. Yeah, so this would be like end of freshman year, to maybe beginning of this, end of freshman year. We were out. This is at Centennial Park. Bicentennial Park in downtown Nashville. We went out, with the band and just filmed a bunch of videos that day. And that picture is really interesting because I was just like, hey, somebody take a picture of me with all this stuff. This picture's from The Well in Green Hills. It's a coffee house. They're a nonprofit organization. Beautiful thing they got running there. But, we packed a 6-piece band up on that stage with 2 openers. It was a small place, but we sold out that show. We worked very hard for that, and we had a great time. We really did. There's tons of videos on the Smoky Suns page. You got Madison Rose McCoy on the bottom and top left there. On the top right is David Hilderhoff, an incredible singer-songwriter out here. And on the bottom right is Macklin Hayes. He is a very nice young gentleman, singer-songwriter in his own right, getting more into the worship side of things, worship music, and he's just writing so many cool things. So,
now, did you know these people, or you just met them when you got to school?
I have. So the first person I met was Hunter Worrell, who's currently my roommate, and also just kind of he's there in all my projects. This is
that him?
That's him.
Is this him?
Yep, that's him
here with you.
Yep, that is Hunter Worrell himself. So I met him. I was upstairs. We had a 3-story, tall building dorm room. I was upstairs on the second floor in our buddy Scott's house in one of the apartments, and we were just jamming with a few different people, and I was jamming with a few different people, and a knock came at the door when we stopped playing. The door, I like to tell people it was a dark and stormy night, and the door flew off the hinges, and there stood Hunter Worrell. But that's not how it went. He opened up the door and he said, "Hey, can I jam with you guys?" He had a guitar and an amp. He came in, sat down on his amp, played guitar. He happened to just sit next to me, and we talked it up. We had started just a little jam band from that room. Didn't really go anywhere. Maybe lasted a week because that's how music works sometimes. But me and him stuck together. We hung out, I think, probably every day up until the end of that semester. During that time, we closer to the end, especially, we started the Smoky Suns as a band, and we originally wanted to start it as just a duo, and it was just going to be me and Hunter Worrell as the Smoky Suns. But we also knew deep down inside we wanted a band. We wanted something loud. We wanted something fun, a party band, writing music, and we wanted a powerhouse.
Cram band? Is this the Cram band?
Cram Jam. Yeah, so that was for Belmont Dining. It was offered. It was a show. It was probably I think that was actually probably our first show we did for Belmont Dining. And we did a few shows for them, but here on campus at the Belmont Caf, as we call it. We started the band. We brought in then Christian Bajarski is on drums, Billy Bellino on guitar, and Garrett Olson on bass. And then shortly after that, we had brought Charles Wade Bales, or CW, on his fiddle. And so, yeah, that's our promotion for the Well show that was last year. And so as you can see, you got the band on the bottom there. Starting from the left, you got CW, Billy, myself, Hunter, Garrett, and then Christian. And then you have Madison Rose McCoy, David Hilderhoff, and Austin Sheffield. So we're all good friends, kind of met these people as time went on, brought them on, brought the people above us on for openers, just kind of give people a good show. We kept it cheap, kept it at a decent time. We had a great time, man. It was a great way to kind of showcase some of our songs, showcase some covers, and kind of mess around with different things. You know what I mean? So yeah, the Smoky Sons has built up to now an empire where we're currently transitioning to just trying to do strictly originals. We've been in the studio recording some different things, and just kind of keeping it on the down low until we're ready to kind of rebrand and come out with this new picture of what the Smoky Sons are soon to be. So, yeah.
So fascinating in how it all turned about, but obviously he was able to understand and hear you jamming and realize this guy's got talent. That's why he knocked on your door.
Yeah. We were all playing. So he heard a band, he heard a bunch of people playing instruments. But he came in and sat next to me and we were just talking about music that we liked. And, he was a big Van Halen, Motley Crue guy, and then as time went on, I eventually told him I was a huge Elvis fan. And he was like, "You're an Elvis fan?" I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "Yeah, name 5 songs." Well, I named 5 songs. I wasn't naming Hound Dog or Blue Suede Shoes, or All Shook Up. I'm naming, Welcome to My World, like, Gave Me a Mountain to Climb, We're talking deep cuts of Elvis. And so he was like, "How do you know these songs?" I'm like, "Elvis is my number one. That's my idol." So we would sit down and just watch Elvis videos, and at the time the Elvis movie came out. So we were obsessing over that, So it was just, it just kind of clicked, and we found there were a lot of opposites, but those opposites attracted to create a friendship that was beyond compare, so.
Now, with my little bit of knowledge and background in the business, when I was starting to do some TV shows back in the 80s and 90s, and I can see you guys, do you have any professional representation, like any agents or anybody, business manager that's going to, and if you're writing your own songs, you're getting into publishing, I'm sure your uncle will be advising you a lot of that.
Yeah. My uncle has been, especially for not just the Smoky Sons, but as a personal artist, just as an artist.
He's a phenomenal DJ.
He's very good at the business stuff. And he's learning along as I am, with the more modern business stuff. So the good thing about having that music business minor, which a few of us in the band do have, we've kind of been able to, we all have the books, you know what I mean? We have to take copyright law, music publishing, survey of music business, which just kind of gives you an overview of what the music business is today. So when we look at the books, when we're talking business, we always refer back to those books. At this time, being in the college setting, it is kind of difficult for us to go and find, company that will want to manage us, for a college price is what is kind of the rundown of, where it comes to. We are in the look for management, but as of right now, we kind of been able to hold our own for a little bit, just until things start to pick up. And like I said, at this time, we are working on our own music. We're writing, we're taking our time with that. We want it to sound as good for the audience as much for us, so yeah, it's been a pretty good ride so far. And I look forward to the future for it, for sure.
Well, it's interesting. I have a little, part-time things I do here in California, and down about 20 miles south of me, there's it's actually the Southern California's winery. It's called Temecula. I don't know if you've ever heard of that, but they have an old section they call Old Town Temecula, and they have everything is like Western and things like that. Yeah. But they have this huge, I don't call it a concert hall, but it's on Thursday nights. They have lines around doing, all country stuff. And yeah, I'm saying to myself, well, if he ever gets somewhere, I actually know the person that owns the place to book you guys in there. So when you finally, I would handle your West Coast dealing, you know.
Hey, you know
But
what? I'm all right with that, man. That sounds good. I mean, we can always sit down and talk sometime about, getting myself and a band out there and go and party rock. That does not bother me.
look,
Take a weekend trip or something.
pick my brain. I know your uncle comes from a different way, but I was doing, 40 years ago, that TV show, California Youth Dance Party. It was under
Yeah,
21 teen nightclub. Now, I don't know if you've seen any of that. Aesthetically, it was good. It was on TV,
yeah,
but I really learned the business end after that. If I could
yeah.
ever get my financing and make the movie about what's happening behind the scenes.
Mhm.
So that's why what's great, though, you're already talking about, the business end of it, because you see all the documentaries about all the great artists of the 70s and 80s and how they
Yep,
got ripped off about this and that. And,
yep,
you know, between Billy Joel and even Peter Frampton,
yeah,
and they were doing out there, they were selling out concerts all over the bed. Like,
yep.
why am I still broke?
Yeah,
And the greatest one, I'm a Beatles guy from way back, and they asked George
yeah.
Harrison, "Oh, how's it when they're making money?" And George goes, "Money? We haven't seen any money." so,
See, man. Yep.
so yeah, but it's great that you're handling that end too. So
Yeah.
now you
And
mentioned
thankfully,
earlier
in
when we first
today's business world, it's been a lot more stricter. They're being very
yeah,
strict about it, making sure, and there is a lot
yeah.
more that's been added over time because of those situations. So, thankfully, things are hopefully looking a little easier for us. I'm
Yeah,
hoping.
now in our before we went live, you were mentioning now you're with the band, but you're
Yeah.
also now doing some solo also.
Yes, sir. So, going up there is just Frankie Rae and his band. We haven't decided a backing band name just yet. Any suggestions will help from anybody. But we're doing Frankie Rae and his band. It is a heart stopping, fun rocking country band. We're going to start doing a lot of covers of the country stuff, but also going to get some of my originals out there. I've been songwriting for the past 2 or 3 years now, writing a lot of poetry and stuff like that. So kind of turning and transforming them into songs, and putting them out my own way, doing my own thing, trying new things out, feeling the waters a little bit.
So that promo
So,
I just showed, that's for an upcoming solo gig.
yep. So February 9th, the Why Not Saloon. It's in Bellevue, Tennessee. It's a little bit out of Nashville. It's going to be a great time. We're going to be, we got a 4-hour set just about. It's going to be cut down into 3 main sets. Yeah, we're going to be rocking out 8 to 12, and food, bar, free admission. And it's a good, fun country time. That is what I want. I want it to look, I want a place where people can come in, listen to some good old music, hear some new stuff they've never heard before, get to dance, line dance, have a good time, and just get away from reality a little bit. Whiskey away from the terrors of the world, and just come and listen to
Yeah,
music, have a good time, put a smile on your face, and
yeah, the
that's
world's crazy, but you
it
got to
is a
listen to
crazy
music,
world.
right?
Yeah,
But yeah,
music is a savior for sure.
the great thing about this format that people all over the country, or even actually over the world, can watch this. But anybody who's in that Nashville area
Yep.
and sees this video and sees this podcast for
Yep.
Frankie, why don't you go out there? We'll just put this up here again. So say it
Yes, sir.
again, Frank. It's February 9th, 8
February
p.m. to
9th,
mid.
8 p.m. to midnight at the Why Not Saloon, free admission, food, drinks, all you can ask for, full bar. And it's a great little place. It's easy to get to. And it's in Bellevue, Tennessee, just outside of Nashville.
So how did you get this gig? On your own? Somebody approached you for it, or how did you do
Yeah.
that?
So the process of getting gigs in Nashville is probably one of the hardest processes anyone's got to go through. It is very email tedious, but I've been able to kind of break it down into the idea of 3 different certain different categories. Whereas, and this is a tip that I'm willing to share with the greater Nashville area for any musicians that are going through the same thing. There's going to be places that are going to strictly work off of your streaming numbers, and there's going to be places that are going to be okay with giving you a chance, just because they're trying to build up their revenue and build up their name. So a place like Why Not, they were running as a different venue for a while, and then COVID kind of tore them apart. But just recently, in last year, they were able to rebuild their bar, and now they're doing great stuff. They've got bands every weekend, and acoustic gigs throughout the week. They're open, 7 days a week, rocking out and having a good time. Great food. Their wings are some of the best in Nashville. And that, I'm not just saying that. Like, they really are very good. And their grill food is delicious. They got drinks galore at the bar. I'm not 21 yet. Haven't had a drink there yet, but I'm sure they're delicious. So, it's a great little place. I emailed them. I think I had a buddy who knew the owner, reached out to her, and she gave me the info to the booking agent, talked to them. And after a couple weeks or so of talking with them, I was able to book the show, and we decided on a date, and it's been smooth sailing from there. And, we're getting ready for the show. We got a rehearsal later tonight. So, it's going to be a good time. I'm really excited for it. Yeah.
Well, I have to commend you because you said something really miraculous in that, how you got that gig. Because I was in advertising and marketing for 25, 30 years.
Yeah.
You said you were contacting them for weeks.
Yeah.
Until you finally got that. So a lot of people think they make their first call and they get a no or whatever. You just kept going and going and going. So there is your tenacity in just going out there and keep pursuing it and not thinking, oh, I can't get the gig. I called one time. Because I hate to use the younger generation. They think I emailed one time, nobody got back to me. I can't get it. But that's the fascinating. That's where you're going to make it because you got that gig on your own. Nobody else represented you.
Yeah.
So that's fantastic.
I like to call it controlled pressure, where if they don't get back to you on the first email, it's okay to push another one. Just you got to word it right. So I call it controlled pressure. And I think another thing that one of the best things I ever heard was from my teacher, Terry Bless at Camden County Technical Schools. She said to us, for every 99 no's, there'll be one yes. And that'll be your 100th. So she's like, every 99, you'll do 99 auditions. They'll all be no's. She goes, but that 100th will be a yes. She goes, it's just how it works.
When they say it's a numbers game, and in sales, when you're doing outside sales, and nobody really does it anymore, that you have to actually go into 20 establishments for one person to maybe even acknowledge you, maybe even to give a presentation, Yep. And then when you're selling yourself, but that's where I'm saying you are going to go, and that's commendable because I'm always curious. Well, how did you get that gig? And how did this happen? Because you see all these documentaries, and all of a sudden this happened. And that happened. Well, somebody had to put that together.
The documentaries cut out the whole, year-long process. I think it was Alabama. Performed 7 years. Yeah. They were a bar band for 7 years before they got picked up. They weren't getting gigs every day.
I was just fascinated that these documentaries that just on Netflix, they had the one about Clearwater, and I'm sure maybe they're one of your favorites. Yeah. And I always assumed all their songs sounded of the Bayou down in Louisiana. They never set foot. They were from California. They were from the San Francisco area.
Yep.
In the beginning.
Yeah, I've never seen something like that. It's insane.
Yeah. So I mentioned, I don't know if I said this in the beginning, but I might be repeating myself. But when I heard you and I saw you perform, I see a little bit of Blues Traveler.
Yeah.
Dave Matthews.
There you go.
And Hootie and the Blowfish. A combination of all three. And they basically were bar bands. One was in North Carolina, was Hootie, and Virginia was Dave Matthews, which I saw them at the old Spectrum in Philly in '96. Just blew me away when I went on the first on Saturday Night Live. So, and I said, wow, there's something here. But now, did you automatically go in as the lead singer? I know how bands work.
So, when I first started at college, my instrument hand wasn't that great. I wasn't as good as the guitar as everybody else. I wasn't as good as playing the drums. These are things I had messed around with at home. I have a little home studio that I have a piano, an acoustic piano. I have an acoustic drum kit. I got a bunch of guitars, just stuff that I built a collection of over the years. And just started playing instruments and tried to get at it. The guitar was the one that I really admired the most. I tried it, and then I think a week in, I said, yeah, I'm done. I dropped it, and then I think I wound up picking it back up maybe a month later. Something about it. There was a song I heard and I knew it was easy. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to do it and I'm going to do it right. I learned it. Once I got those chords down, I don't think I could put the guitar down to this day. I mean, I'm still going. So at the time that I started here at Belmont, I didn't really have much instrument. So I knew being the singer was going to be a big deal. But I also, I kind of knew my worth. I knew my value, and I didn't want to overdo it. I didn't want to over push my voice. I didn't want to waste my voice on anything that would necessarily hurt me. You know what I mean? So I kept it down for a little bit and would go and sing with little jam circles that showed up around school, and just met people, and that was the best way. We have a bird cage at Belmont, which is kind of like it's a big jam hot spot for people to just show up and jam when it's a nice day outside. So what we did was it was just what we did. And then there came a couple opportunities to grab that microphone, and it went south from there. It just kept going, and I built up my voice to be what I wanted it to be. I started working on my country twang. And I've had, thankfully, I'm blessed to say that I've had people tell me that, they would never expect me to be from New Jersey. My buddies call me Frankie Dunn. They think I sound like Ronnie Dunn from Brooks and Dunn. I don't hear it, but my buddies joke around and say they call me Frankie Dunn. I always thought that was funny, but we have a good time. I'm not here.
People from New Jersey. Yeah, obviously people from New Jersey have a stereotype from TV shows and certain things. No, hey, look at Bruce Springsteen. He's not really, he's rock, but it's a different kind of rock. And then you have Bon Jovi and things like that. But then here you are. But I just put paste, and when I saw this picture, I said, "There's a fire in that." You know what I know, because I'm no singer. I should have kept the guitar for many, many years when I was a kid. But we've all been to karaoke, and people just sing. Man, that's singing for real, So that's where I said, hey, there's something here, and I could see probably within a couple of months to a years, whatever, you're going to be on a big stage, And I'm not saying you're going to be. But being in Nashville for what you're doing, you can't be in any other better place than in Nashville.
Yeah. Nashville's a 10-year town. That's what everyone's been saying.
Oh yeah, and it's like, and everything happening. You're just not even 20 yet, so give yourself another little bit. And as I threw out there, between your uncle and there's, pick my brain if you have questions. And Frankie, this is not going to be a one and done. We're going to have you on today and like, okay, thank you, and that's it. No. We would like to have a continuing dialogue as you progress, and we find a day that we don't have that internet glitch that we could actually run the videos and here to see this. And that's why I apologize to our people who are watching. And I actually am amiss that I forgot to put something up here because I got so intrigued with everything that I forgot to put this on here. Damn.
Oh, there it is.
See this technology? It's just like, oh boy.
Technology, it's getting you, Carl. It's getting you.
Well, the thing is, I actually I'm producer, director, and everything, Yeah. There we go. And then anybody, the only thing I ask, I won't use the word demand. If anybody watches this, I would just love to get my YouTube page to have some like and subscribe. That's all. If they like it, subscribe to the channel. That's it. So yes, I apologize for being amiss with that and that not actually have, who I'm talking to, but I was just so intrigued by your story and everything. It's really like, okay, well, we're at the 34 minute hour. Maybe we can have another 10 or 15. Yeah. But all right, Frankie, where do you see yourself in 6 months, a year, and a couple of years down the road?
So like I said, Nashville's a 10-year town. So I've got a lot of work to do. And I'm not afraid of it. I know I've got the work to do. 6 months, I'm hoping to have as many gigs under my belt as I would in a year, if not more. And that I would expect to have in a year. I'm hoping to get more gigs, hoping to hopefully meet some, network and meet some great people along the way. It's already paid off pretty well to meet some great people. And I've had the opportunities to see some awesome artists in concert settings or personal, more intimate settings. And just, I've seen a lot of cool things in Nashville, and I know Nashville is just it's an egg. It's a hard-boiled egg that's slowly peeling the shell off. And once you're at that 10-year mark or, 11-year mark, it really just, it's fully unshelled for you, and it's yours. So I'm hoping in a year in that time span, I'm working and making people happy day by day. That has always been my motto, is to make people smile. So that is what I'm working for, no matter how long it takes. Yeah.
Well, it's good that you have your goals, and not just, obviously you have to live in the day and live in the moment, but also know where that goal and where you want to get to. And I think your talent and everything's going to take you to limits, because I think having your uncle as a mentor and then actually a business advisor, you're not going to go down a wrong path where we find a lot of artists do. And I think and I see that. And that's why I think I started contacting you like back in the fall, September, and October, and you kind of was taken back. Really? No. I want to get you when I use the tagline. I want to get you before you become famous. And, oh, yeah, you're just tagging along. No. I could say we could go back to what's today, January 26th. And yeah, we got him before he did Madison Square Garden or, whatever.
Yep.
So, whatever.
Yeah, it was last semester was a busy one for sure. But I was going to make sure I got you. I was going to get you in. Don't you worry. Yeah. And I will always have time to make for you at some point. Even if it takes us a couple months to get on there, I'll have you on the schedule at any time you want. And
that's it. And just why do you just reach out and say, hey, I'm going to be doing this. And actually it's a promo because I'm here in California. And if you want to do some kind of your own little podcast, I could remotely produce and direct it for you from afar. I don't even have to be on. This technology is amazing.
Yeah.
That Johnny Patillo, who's and I talked to him last night because he's really close friends with Tony Orlando, and Tony Orlando just retired, and he might be wanting to get on there and talk about things, talk about the music business in that regard. So
I'll be looking out.
That's where I see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm not saying that's going to happen, but people were saying, well, what are you doing this for? I said, but look, I'm at this age. Can't believe I hit the big 7-0, but I figured, I have something to say. This is a way to say it. Yeah. Thank you. And the thing is, there's a lot of fascinating people that have their regular lives that everybody has a fascinating story to tell. And I think I'm pretty decent as a moderator, but I think somebody young and has their whole life ahead of them, especially in the musical, I have a second life that I thought I was a big rock star. Now at this age, I own all these businesses and I'm a producer, but this is who I am. But if I could talk to potential people, it's really kind of cool. So, So Frank, please, I don't want you to be a stranger. Keep me updated with stuff. And obviously I'll be seeing stuff that's going on. And then anytime you want to promote anything besides your current, what's going to be going on. So let's go back to that before we say goodbye and sign off.
I thank you for the opportunity, buddy. I truly do. And I'll be in touch if there's anything coming up. But for right now, all I've got for you guys is look out for the Smoky Sons music and definitely for Frankie Rae. If you're in the Nashville area, come check out the show. Again, it's free. It's going to be a great time. And, keep a lookout on my social medias for all the fun stuff. And I'll be sure to share this wonderful podcast on there as well, and future ones too. So I'm really excited for the.
Now, you don't have anything scheduled with the band yet? Now,
we're currently working on music in the studio. So it's been a lot of studio time. We're taking our time with that. So once we're done rebranding, we'll be hopefully able to kind of start kicking up the gigs. And we have some places that we have in mind that hopefully will want to work with our pitches. We got to pitch some gigs to certain places. They're kind of you get one of those categories of a place that wants you to pitch stuff to them. So, if they like it, they think it's good enough, they'll bring you on. So we've got a good amount of
now. Are you going to have any original material that you're going to have coming out on streaming? Or I know we don't do records or
We don't do
45
records no more,
or
right?
albums. Now, you
I'd
gonna have
hope
anything coming out?
so. For the Smoky Suns, we are in the talks of a single release and then an EP release, if not an album. And then for Frankie Rae, I will be in the studio sometime this year, getting a couple singles recorded and some demos for different other projects, but hopefully enough to kind of master and possibly release an EP. So be on the lookout for that stuff. It's going to be on all streaming platforms. And for my personal projects, I'd like to maybe even try and get some CDs printed and some vinyl. So be on the lookout for them. You know, I'll have a merch store and we can talk about purchase and all that fun stuff.
What
when it
a what
happens.
an awesome situation would that be? Well, the key is if people that write their own material and it's really good, that's the key. When they can write their own material and it's good and really touches people, then that's really when you have a creative artist. So, Frankie, first of all, I want to thank you for being on here. I think
of
we
course.
touched the surface, just the surface about who you are, where you came from, and where you're going. But I think in subsequent ones we could expand more, give us updates on anything coming up out of the studio or any kind of gigs. And even if we don't do a podcast, you could just send it and I could just put it on there. And with my other friend, just on a phone, you could probably just do like a little video. Hey, did you watch me on Karl's Korner on there? You know, look for the next one that's going to come up. You know, like maybe do a little promo thing so we could do something like that. And we can put it over here. And hey, wherever it goes, but you never know that one person might be seeing you from somewhere and say, hey, I like that guy. Let me talk to him. So, and if anything out here, if you start touring East Coast and if I can help out, if you start coming out to the West Coast, I could probably help you out here.
Yeah, I would love. I've been telling everybody, you know, I want to travel the country. I want to travel the world at some point, but the country is the first start. And I have some good. One of my bandmates in my personal project, Colin O'Connor, lives out in Modesto, California. So I'm hoping to hopefully get out there at some point in the next couple of years to be able to go check things out, see what it's like out there, and you know maybe hit the other states on the way down. So,
well, I actually came out here. It's a beautiful country. I came out here twice. The one time, the first time my cousin moved out here in 2018, I came out here in November. Driving the country out here, it's majestic. Now, especially where you're at, you know, coming through Virginia, Maryland, Virginia, Tennessee. I drove through Nashville, then in through Texas. Beautiful. You know, once you come out here, get past Oklahoma, it gets, you know, that orange color and, you know, more, and but this is a whole nother thing. And you know, I got out of there because I couldn't handle the weather anymore. I thank God everybody back east handling the wintertime and scraping and shoveling. No more for me, you know. California's crazy. It's expensive and everything, but it's weather, and, you know, the sun's out here beautiful. It's going to be in the low 60s here. And it's, you know, it's fine. So
beautiful.
In closing, anything else you want to say in closing and, you know, help you promote that again?
Just thank you. Thank you, Karl. Thank you for this opportunity. If anybody is out there that wants to talk about music or has any questions, wants to talk about business, anything like that, just feel free to reach out. If you can't get to me from my social medias, reach out to Karl and he can get you my phone number. I'm a very open guy, very open to talking to people. So just anybody reach out. It's, you know, and you want to talk about anything. And other than that, I hope everybody enjoys the music and I'm excited to see where we go. So.
Yeah, and give my best to your uncle, your mom, and everybody. And I think I'm sure they're gonna. I'm sure you let them know that we're gonna be.
Oh, they're gonna be watching. Don't worry. They're already
let them know.
hi.
I'm gonna check this out. Yes. So I'm gonna go through this. I'll send you a text when I schedule it. It'll be either later tonight or first thing in the morning tomorrow on Saturday. So on that note, Frankie, till next time, I appreciate.
We're back.
Well,